p.m. on Channel 13. You're watching KCOS TV, Channel 13 in El Paso, public television serving West Texas.
News 7 is closed captioned with funding provided in part from the El Paso Independent School District.
Live from the KVIA TV Telecommunications Center, this is the most watched early newscast in West Texas and southern New Mexico with Suzanne Michaels, Gary Warner, John Fawcett with weather, and Fred Albers on sports.
County Judge Luther Jones, Commissioners Orlando Fonseca and Marty Georges will not, in fact, cannot be removed from office. Good evening, and thank you for joining News 7.
A three-day hearing into allegations that the three elected officials approved illegal budgetary changes is over.
John Garman sat through those 3 days, and he is joining us live now. And John, was it the judge's ruling that the three did nothing wrong?
No, there was no such finding along those lines by Judge Brunson Moore, who conducted the hearing. But it was brought to the judge's attention today that higher courts in Texas have ruled that elected officials, other than through the long recall process, cannot be removed in a lawsuit by private citizens alone. Any such action by a private or more than one private citizen must be joined or participated in by either the Attorney General, the district attorney of that area, or the county attorney. And there was no such participation by any prosecutorial office in this El Paso case. Now, the final witness today was El Paso's county attorney, Joe Lucas.
I would have been happy to join in that long lawsuit had there been intentional acts of abuse of office, those types of things. There certainly wasn't. The case that they put on, as far as I was concerned, showed no evidence, and therefore at the end, when I was asked if I would join the lawsuit, I said no.
When you illuminate anything, it's in the public interest. I'm certain that this procedure was in the public interest. I'm disappointed that we didn't reach the key critical issue. Are those acts legal or illegal? I wish the judge had ruled on that and put the matter to rest.
Diamond says he may appeal. County Judge Luther Jones testified Commissioner Charlie Hooten was a prime mover in the lawsuit, and Jones says it was done for revenge because Jones had supported Hooten's last political opponent. Hooten, though, sticks by his contention that using money from the county's contingency fund for special projects and unbudgeted items is illegal. And by the way, Gary and Suzanne, Tom Diamond, the attorney for the plaintiff, says that result of the hearing today effectively does away with his client's overall lawsuit that was filed initially to halt development of the aquatic center proposed for Garrity Park.
All right, John, thank you for that update.
Thomas and General Hospital officials have approved a new operating budget for the coming year.
The Board of Managers okayed the amended budget during an afternoon meeting. However, for a second time in 1 week, the meeting generated some controversy.
News 7's Roger Meyer is at Thomas and Hospital, and he joined us live now with the details. Roger?
Thank you, Gary. During Monday's meeting, Board Chairperson Carmen Leal would not accept the proposed budget because the $1.1 million in budget cuts just didn't balance. Today, the numbers did add up. However, opposition came from elsewhere. Activist Ray Gilbert told the board that they were breaking the law by holding the meeting without giving the public 72 hours notice. Council disagreed, saying that this was an emergency, and hospital officials went ahead with the meeting and adopted a new budget.
We did cut $1,100,000 out of the budget as recommended by Ernst & Young, and it's a number I think we can live with, and the 50% tax increase that we hope we will get on Monday will certainly take us a long way to achieving this budget.
Hospital officials also went ahead and approved a plan that would allow the hospital to borrow $5 million at below market interest rates against the revenue they are expecting from the county's tax hike. They say they need the loan to cover mounting expenses and keep the hospital open. Now, right now, the hospital officials are listening to public comment on the tax hike, and then Monday, this budget will be presented to county commissioners. Reporting live from Thomas Hospital, Roger Meyer, News 7.
Roger, thank you for that report. El Paso's only not-for-profit, non-tax-supported full-service hospital calls it cost containment, a belt-tightening program that will see no more than 50 of its almost 2,000 employees lose their jobs. Providence Hospital is also cutting back on overtime, eliminating new hiring for administrative jobs, and reducing some employee benefits like food discounts. Providence plans no cuts in critical patient care areas like nursing. Administrator Richard Livengood says there is no danger to the hospital's $40 million in bonds obtained last year for expansion and improvements at Providence.
Fort Bliss Commander Major General Donald Leonetti has been released from William Beaumont Army Medical Center, where he was recovering from successful treatment for a partially blocked coronary artery. General Leonetti will spend the next few days resting at home, and he should be back on the job next week.
An Army Reserve company in Las Cruces is among 62 units activated nationwide in the latest call-up to support Operation Desert Shield. 141 reservists with the 281st Transportation Company will be going on active duty. The Army won't say if the reservists will be sent to the Middle East or remain stateside, but they are to assemble at Fort Bliss for their assignment.
Stay with us. Still to come here on News 7, a Mexican federal police officer is jailed in El Paso. The charge, auto theft.
And we'll explain why using a collection agency won't help the city collect unpaid traffic tickets.
With the great El Paso, Las Cruces Southwest.
This is News 7. A Mexican federal judicial police officer is in the El Paso County Jail tonight because police believe he was attempting to steal cars on this side of the border. News 7's Ann Semmer reports the arrest further enhances the department's allegations of corruption within the Mexican government.
Alberto Perez Alvarado's credentials say he's been a commissioned member of the Mexican Federal Judicial Police since April. He was arrested late Wednesday by West Side patrol officers who noticed a brown Ford Tiempo casing cars in this parking lot. When the officers witnessed the men getting out of their car to check another, they moved in and discovered a bounty of tools commonly used by auto thieves. Perez Alvarado and the three others are charged with possession of a criminal instrument, a misdemeanor. But a more significant charge resurfaces with the arrests.
It pretty much supports our allegations of the involvement of the Mexican police in the auto thefts in El Paso.
Busy parking lots like this one make car stealing rather easy for thieves. But perhaps even more enticing to the young individuals involved is knowing if they get caught, they'll probably get off.
It is a misdemeanor. It's also a non-violent crime. So the reality of the thing is probably once they bond out, they'll go back to Mexico, and that's pretty much the end of it.
Until, police say, the men return to El Paso for another round of car stealing. Ann Semmer, News 7.
And 3 young El Paso men are also jailed after they allegedly tried to pawn off 2 stolen cars for a kilo of cocaine. Police say the men stole numerous sets of keys from Gene Horn Oldsmobile earlier this month and later returned to steal a 1989 pickup and a cutlass. During an undercover detail, detectives say they witnessed the men trying to sell the cars for narcotics.
Yesterday, News 7 reported that the city of El Paso is accepting bids from collection agencies wanting to help collect the almost $7 million in unpaid traffic fines owed the city. Lower Valley Representative J.J. Arms says a collection agency won't work. Arms, who was a deputy constable for 17 years, says that if the debtor submits a partial payment, then the warrant is technically served and it is no longer a criminal matter. Arms fears that people will pay only a small portion of their outstanding fine and then be free of criminal prosecution. Arms will try and convince City Council to consider another option.
Let's get the deputy constables that are peace officers to execute these warrants, because they're the only ones that have the power of arrest. A collection agency has no power of arrest.
Deputy constables are not paid a salary, but Arms believes that they would be willing to serve traffic warrants if the city merely reimburses them for gasoline.
News 7 weather is up next with meteorologist John Fawcett.
John, is there any sign of fall time cooling ahead?
Yes, keeps getting pushed back a little more. Now, probably Saturday and for sure Sunday, which is the first day officially of fall. So our high temperature today, not quite fall yet, but not bad, 86 degrees. That's pretty close to the normal of 87. Record high 97, 1973. Below this morning, 63, and the record low would be 44, 1971. And that precipitation, that actually occurred before midnight last night, but as far as today goes, nothing since midnight today. Partly cloudy, currently 85 degrees at the airport, humidity 37%. The barometer is falling, and the winds are out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. We did have a trace of rain here at KVIA after midnight last night as that activity moved in from the southwest, and in parts of Las Cruces, the west side of town, 1500ths, and on the east side of town, 500-600ths or so. So they got a little more than we did last night. Here's the latest satellite imagery looped for you, four-dimensionally. And there's up to 4 inches of rain overnight in the Devils River drainage basin down there in southern Texas, but closer to our viewing area in the Davis Mountain Resort, up to a wall of water about 3 feet high reported going down one of those canyons. There's a flash flood watch out for the Big Bend area, the Permian Basin, the Concho Valley, the Guadalupe Mountains, and Davis Mountains. In other words, most of southwest Texas under a flash flood watch this evening. Of course, that is far to the east of El Paso. We're sort of in a dry slot with some sinking air and slightly drier air finally moving in here. Today, although thunderstorms are visible to the distant south and southeast, and there's something that's trying to get going to our southwest, and that would be moving in towards us. Radar shows the thunderstorm activity again blossoming over much of the southern section of the United States, all the way back into Arizona. Hey, they have more rainfall. It's incredible. Phoenix at this time getting some showers. And then the heaviest thunderstorm activity looks to be in southwestern Kansas, also in portions of Arkansas. There was also a small funnel cloud reported between Van Horn and Marfa today. Lots of action in that part of Texas. Upper disturbance covering the rain-infested areas. This upper low to our west is continuing to settle down, and then in the next couple of days it'll probably start to lift up a little bit. Stay out of our picture. However, the combination of that low and this high building back towards us still gives us a southerly flow. So with moisture down in Mexico, hey, you got to have some slight mention of thunderstorms at least. This trough, by the way, as it moves by, giving us a push of cool air from the north. Oh, wouldn't they like that in Saudi Arabia, but it's still pretty hot. But fortunately, it has been cooling down a little by little, which you'd expect in late summer and early fall. Tomorrow's forecast map, here's the front coming closer and closer. The first part of the cool air, the first push, won't be that significant. It's the second one further to the north. I think we'll, because of the combination of the approaching front and southerly flow, have a chance of thunder showers, isolated tomorrow and Saturday, dropping off on Sunday. But look at those temperatures plummet a little bit with windy west slopes Saturday and Sunday.
I like it.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Up next in News 7 Sports.
Start your engines. Fred Albers drags by with all the sports.
Fred joins us now and says another school is on probation.
Florida Gators got. The NCAA got the Gator by the tail today. After several months of investigation, the NCAA placed Florida on probation for numerous violations committed under former football coach Galen Hall and former basketball coach Norm Sloan. Actually, many thought these penalties would be more severe. The football team is banned from making a bowl appearance this year and will lose some scholarships, while the basketball squad faces just the loss of scholarships. The university must also return more than $250,000 to the NCAA. It's the second time in 6 years Florida has been on probation, and the university could have received the death penalty. Arkansas will compete for the Southwest Conference Football Championship in 1991. That was the unanimous vote of athletic directors today in Dallas. The Hogs will have all the rights and privileges of any other Southwest Conference team, including competing for the title. Arkansas will begin competition in the Southeast Conference in 1992. A big crowd at Shea Stadium today for a doubleheader, and look who shows up. I am not a crook. Mets against Montreal, score tied in the 6th. That bloop single will play to run, but watch former Diablo Charlie O'Brien. He does not slide and is tagged out. Bud Harrelson knew that was a costly run, and he was right, because John Franco could not give up the lead, could not hold the lead, giving up 4 runs in the 8th inning along with that bad throw. The Montreal bullpen did the rest. Tim Burke with the strikeout of Tommy Herr. Montreal won the opener 6-4, added the nightcap 2-0 to complete the doubleheader sweep of the Mets. Meanwhile, the Pirates flew into Chicago and blew away the Cubs. First inning, Andy Van Slyke with the home run into the bleachers. Now, what happens when you hit a home run in Chicago, visiting team? You throw the ball back out onto the field. Didn't make any difference, though, because the bleacher fans had plenty of balls to choose from. Barry Bonds with his 32nd homer of the year. The Pittsburgh clobbered the Cubs 11-2. Cubs now lead the Mets by 2.5 games. Montreal 4.5 back. You don't have to go out to the drag track to enjoy some drag racing. There's the home version with slot cars. But just because the size is small doesn't mean the speed is slow. News 7's Raymond Mesa reports.
Slot car racing has been popular for years, but here in El Paso, it died off for a while. But now it's back, and several racing fans are sinking some big bucks into the little cars.
In this little car, maybe about $45. You can probably have as much as about $250.
Many new technological advances have been incorporated, and the little cars have gotten a lot faster. The average slot car dragster will take this 44-foot track in about 1.3, 1.5 seconds. And that's pretty fast, as you're going to see right now. But what you're about to see is incredibly fast. El Pasoan Michael Wells says he has set a world record for the sport in his class at 0.605 seconds, and in the process has introduced a new concept in slot car drag racing.
Conventional cars use a 12-volt motor. These cars are rocket-powered, and they far outperform any electric motor that's on the track.
And why would anybody spend so much time and effort on a project like this one? Big money.
Individual tracks across the country hold events would now have purses starting at about $500 up to the national events, which will go as high as $50,000 to $60,000.
Michael Wells says he expects his toxic Avenger 2 to start paying off just as fast as it's burning up the track. From Fast Track Slot Car Racing in East El Paso, this is Raymond Mesa, News 7 Sports.
And I think I said earlier that the Cubs lead the Mets. Of course, it's the Pirates who hold a 2.5-game lead.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Please stay with us. We'll have more in just a moment.
$3.5 million in program and improvement bonds at the Doña Ana Branch Community College are before voters in Las Cruces today. Precinct workers report a good turnout in what some view as a controversial measure. At issue is the college's developmental studies program. Opponents say taxpayers should not foot the bill to re-educate students in remedial courses. But school officials say the expansion of programs and facilities is necessary to meet a growing student population. The polls close at 7, and we'll have the returns tonight at 10. And that wraps up this edition of News 7. Thank you for joining us.
And we'll leave you with a News 7 salute to Henry Del Rio, the El Paso City County Health Unit's Employee of the Month. Good night.
Fashions for the News 7 team were chosen at the Popular. The Popular will be closed Thursday in observance of a Jewish holy day.
You can also listen to News 7 Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. live on KROD, 600 on your AM radio dial.